With limited time and accessibility, how do you actually dive deeper into reading and do things such as close reading online? Well, today I'm going to show you how to effectively teach close reading online virtually. Hey fun people! Welcome back to Everything Aja. And if you're new here, hey, my name is Aja. I'm actually a curriculum specialist and a parent, so I know all about remote learning from both ends of the spectrum. Here on Everything Aja, we do parenting and teaching the fun way because we do everything in life the fun way, including education. And we want to make lasting memories doing it. So if you want to help shape the future, then like, subscribe, and click the bell and join us. Join us here. Yes, you. Join us. Click subscribe right now. Now, we've been in the middle of a remote learning series and we just covered how to actually teach guided reading online. So now we're going to go over how to teach close reading online. And the difference of close reading and guided reading is simply guided reading, you're teaching kids on their instructional level and trying to move them up reading levels. With close reading, you're actually teaching kids at their grade level text band, and you're teaching the grade level standards. So close reading is a little different than guided reading, but today I'm going to show you how to do close reading online. In order to do close reading, I'm going to use Reading A to Z. And Reading A to Z is simply one of the many things that Learning A to Z offers. Now, I love Learning A to Z, and not only did it help us with guided reading, but it's also about to help us with close reading. Now, you can also use this resource as a homeschool parent or even a learning center because you will have access to all sorts of level books. Now, as a Learning A to Z referral program member, I'm able to offer you a $5 discount on your membership. You will simply use my promo code NB2092, and then you'll be able to take advantage of this amazing offer. Now, with close reading, you are actually going to read the same text multiple times. You can spread this out through multiple days, or you can have them read multiple times all at once. That is all up to you. Now, what I'm going to walk you through is a 5-day close reading activity. And what we're going to do is take one text and spread it across 5 days as if we were doing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then that way you see exactly how kids are looking for something different each day. Now, if you're a parent, you actually have a more advantage because you can actually print out the close reading passage and have your kids actually highlight the different things that we're going to cover each day. And that way they actually can see and interact with the text, paper and pencil. If you're online teaching virtually, then you can have kids do it on the screen. Now, in order to do this close reading activity, you will need access to a whiteboard feature. You can use the whiteboard in Zoom or even the whiteboard that comes with Microsoft 365. I actually prefer the whiteboard feature with 365, and in a second you will see why. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is hop on Reading A to Z and find a close reading passage. So I suggest actually using the PDF file. That way it compresses the entire book into one page, and then you could just save the image. Once you have the image saved, you are simply ready to copy that image, and now you can paste the image in your whiteboard. Now, in order to do this, I use what's called the snipping tool. You can take a screenshot of it, whatever is best for you. I use the snipping tool. With the snipping tool, you simply bring it up, click new. You will drag and highlight the correct area, which is the entire text. And then you're able to copy the text, and now I'm able to paste it in my whiteboard. Now, I must tell you, in order to use the whiteboard in Microsoft 365, if you are using something such as Microsoft Teams, each child would need to download the Microsoft extension. As soon as you give kids the link to the whiteboard, it will automatically prompt them to actually download the extension. So it's not like you have to do anything extra. Once you have pasted your text in the whiteboard feature, you go to the top in order to invite the kid. Now, you could invite each one of your kids. I like to work smarter, not harder. So I suggest you click on the link. Then you will copy that link and then paste it in your chat box. Once it's in the chat box, all kids have to do is click on the link. Now they all have access to the passage. Remote learning made fun. Y'all, I get really carried away sometimes, okay? All right, and of course, with anything, the more you do this, the more comfortable your kids will actually get with using the whiteboard feature, and then they'll become professional whiteboard users. Dun, 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 dun. Hut. I think hut is like football, not superhero. What does Batman say? Up, up, and away! That wasn't Batman either. Alright, so once kids all have access, whether they're using Zoom or Microsoft 365, you are ready to begin your close reading activities. Now, the first thing you would do, such as on Monday, I suggest you model the entire passage being read. That means you're going to read the entire thing by yourself. So on reading number 1 that you would probably do on a Monday, you are going to first preview any unknown vocabulary. You're going to go ahead and break those words apart. What would those words mean? Let's look at the affixes. That's the prefix and suffix and root of a word. And we're going to break down exactly what do these vocabulary words actually mean. That way we get rid of the whole, I don't understand what these words mean. I know you guys know this one.
Oh, classroom. That's where I go every day.
Yep, that's where we go every day. All right, so then I see this is a vocabulary word, and this word is called wondered. Can you say wondered?
Wonder.
And then we have garbage. That's our next unknown word. Say garbage.
Garbage.
And that's pretty much like the trash. Then you are ready to read the entire passage by yourself. This is called model reading, and you are actually showing the kids how the book should be read. This week's close read, we're going over Brad's backpack. Every morning, each student in Mr. Lynn's class put his or her backpack into the cubby. Once you have read the book and run over the vocabulary words, you're done. On to day 2, which is probably like a Tuesday, you are ready to start sharing the actual reading experience with your kids. Now, you're going to want the focus for day 2 to be something broad because all you did yesterday was go over vocabulary words. So on day 2, we're going to look for the main idea of the text. So we're going to ask kids, all right, kids, today we're going to look for the main idea of this text. What is the author actually trying to tell us? What was the purpose of him actually spending his time writing this entire passage for us? So today, all we're thinking about is what is the main idea of the text. When I stop reading, that means I want you to fill in the blank and help me read as I read. This way you get the kids to interact with the text a little bit more. So as you're reading, you're going to purposely stop on some of those unknown vocabulary words that you went over on day 1. You see how this builds? Hey! So as you continue to read, the kids are going to get more comfortable with those vocabulary words. This way you're setting them up for success, so later on in the week when they read these words on their own, they've already had practice with these unknown words. At the end of reading the passage, you are now ready to interact with the kids, and you're going to ask them, what is the main idea of the text? Now, you can have kids type in the main idea in their chat box. If you have kids that aren't old enough to actually type in the chat box, go ahead and have them just share out loud. What was the passage about? The other really cool thing about the whiteboard in Microsoft 365 is you're actually giving sticky notes, and each kid can click on a sticky note and they can start typing in their answers. So then their answers kind of get all on the screen. And at first this can be very overwhelming, but let kids practice. The more practice they get using the whiteboard features such as the highlighter and the sticky notes, like I said earlier, the more comfortable they'll get and the easier your life will get a little later. Every morning, each student in Mr. Lynn's class put his or her into a cubby. That is, everyone except for Brad. He had a habit of dropping his on the floor by the... So now let's look at the main idea. What was the author's reason for writing this text?
To show the reader what happens when you don't follow directions.
Good. Once you've gotten all the kids to share what they thought the main idea of the text was, you're done for the day. On to day number 3. Now during reading number 3 or day number 3, like a Wednesday, you are ready to split the reading upon you and the kids. Now yesterday you did the majority of the reading. Today you can actually alternate. So you can do core reading, which is you and the kids all read at the exact same time in unison, and you guys are all reading like a chorus. Ho, 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 ho. I can't sing. Or you can do echo reading, which is you read a paragraph, then they read that same paragraph. Or you read a sentence, then they repeat after you and they read a sentence. Or you can do you read a paragraph, then they read a paragraph, then you read a paragraph, then they read a paragraph. You can have you read a paragraph, then they whisper read a paragraph, then you read a paragraph, then they whisper read the next paragraph. Or you can do popcorn reading. You start off reading a paragraph, then you just choose a random kid to read a paragraph, then they choose another kid to read a paragraph until the entire passage is done. And on this day, you're actually able to ask more grade level specific questions. So if it's a book you're wanting to start studying character traits, this is now your time to start asking some of those questions. So you may choose one character to really hone in on day number 3, and let's point out all the things that that character does. Each kid has equal access and opportunity to using the highlighter tool. So now all the kids get to use their highlighter tool, and you can have them go ahead and highlight the different actions of that character. Now all the kids get to interact with the passage now, and you can actually sit back and just watch them interact and see if they're actually highlighting the correct parts of the text. These highlighted features are actually really good for Common Core because this is now their evidence in order to support their thinking. What did Brad do each morning? Can you highlight at the beginning? I want everybody to use their highlighter and go ahead and highlight what was Brad doing to his backpack. So I see that most of you guys are saying that he just dropped his backpack on the floor by the classroom door. What does that tell me about his character traits? Go ahead and use a sticky note. Everybody use a sticky note. And go ahead and type in, what does that tell me about Brad's character traits? Right, so I see he doesn't listen. I see that he is lazy. Good. So those are some things we learned about his character trait. Coming up this week, we're going to be narrowing down how his character traits affected the story. Now, on day number 4 or Thursday, you are not going to read the text. Now, if the kids are face to face, you could have them partner read a text, and that's simply they get to read with another friend. If you're doing this at home with only one child, you could have them read with another member of the family. That way it's somebody different than just listening to you read, and they can partner read with someone else at home. If you're online with a whole bunch of kids, I would have them all kind of partner up together as one big class, and that way they can either popcorn read, or they can whisper read together, or even choral read and all read at the exact same time. Just know it's gonna get a little loud if you have 30 kids all reading the same thing at the same time. On day number 4, all kids have a very clear understanding of the passage and they're ready to dive a little deeper. So let's go back to the character traits, for example. Day number 4, you're actually able to look at cause and effect. So we pointed out some of the character traits in day number 3. Let's build upon that. How does that child's character traits actually influence the actions that occur in the text? So now I'm digging into cause and effect, because who we are affects what we do, and what we do affects the events in a story. So you're able to use questions to get kids to dive a little deeper into day number 4, and once again have them use the highlighter feature to go in and highlight different parts of the text. So today, as we read, you are actually going to find a new person in your house that can read the story with you. So you'll go ahead and partner up with someone in your house, and then you guys will get to read every other paragraph. All right, so now we've read the text again. Yesterday, we went over this story and we looked at Brad's character traits. And you guys told me he was lazy, messy, he didn't listen. And so now we're going to see, how did that actually affect the plot? So I want you to choose a different highlighter, and I want you to find in the text what happened in the story because Brad was lazy and messy. Did something happen? Find in the story what event in the plot occurred because he was indeed lazy. Good, so I see most of you guys are in paragraph 4, where Nikki threw up all over Brad's backpack. Good, so we have a cause and effect. Because Brad was lazy, and didn't move his book bag, Nikki was trying to go to the nurse and she couldn't go to the nurse because of his book bag right there in the middle of the floor. Now you're on to reading number 5 or day number 5, which is Friday or Friday, as some people say. Friday at the end of the week. Friday at the end of the week. Now these kids know this book by now, so I would have them all independent read. They need to read this book by themselves. It is now a familiar read. You have read to them, they've read with a partner, they've read together as a class, they've read to their stuffed animal, whoever is at home they wanted to read to. Whatever it is, they are now ready to take the training wheels off and read the text by themselves. All right, so we have read this book all week long. I have read it, we have read it together. You guys read it as a class, and yesterday you guys actually read it with someone in your household. Today as we read, you are going to read it by yourself. So if I can get everybody to go ahead and independently read the passage. So on day number 5, they read the entire book by themselves. Then you can actually have them split up and look for different things. Once all the kids have read the text, you can actually give them assigned things to look for. So you can split kids up into different groups and have each group look for specific things in the text and use their highlighter in order to find the evidence. You can also number each paragraph and have kids only look for evidence in certain parts of the text. This is really useful if you have a large number of people on a call. That way you only have 2 people looking at one paragraph versus 30. On day number 5, each child should be able to respond to your given question. Remember, you've kind of been slowly getting them to the point. So let's go back to our character traits example. So we've already gone over character traits. We've gone over cause and effect of character traits. Now we're actually able to answer a grade specific question such as how does Aja's character traits affect the plot of the story? So now kids are actually able to dissect and break down the story and figure out what did Aja's actions do that actually turn the plot of a story. All right, so now that you guys have read the story by yourself, what you are going to do is use the sticky note. We've already gone over Brad's actions with his character traits and how it affected the plot. What you guys are going to be doing is using your sticky notes, and you are going to answer my question. How does Brad's characteristics affect the plot of the story? I will go ahead and type it right here. How does Brad's characteristics affect the story? All right, so you're going to answer this question by using your sticky notes. So it's all related into one big picture, and you just kind of broke that down over the course of a week. Day 5 is also a good time to assign some sort of independent activity that's related to the text. Now, if you're going to use something such as reading A to Z, they already give you comprehension questions that are perfect for this, and you don't even have to recreate the wheel. So now it's time for me to get to know you a little better. Let me know down below in the comments if you're one that's already in remote learning or you're trying to teach your child from home. I want to know, are you already doing some sort of close reading? Like, do you take some sort of text and read it multiple times? And if so, how does yours compare to what I just taught you today? Because today we went over how to read one text 5 times and how to break up the reading from you modeling the reading all the way to a child reading that text by themselves. We also went over how to break apart the comprehension so that your child is able to fully comprehend a grade level specific standard. Alright, so I know that was a lot, so I hope you took some really good notes. And if you haven't already watched my video on how to do guided reading online, I suggest you watch that right now. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out my entire series on teaching during remote learning. Check it out right now. What are you waiting on? Go check it out. See you later.